Hello, everyone, and welcome to this 60-minute full yin class. My name is Andrea, and this is Sun Salutation Spotlight. So, before we get started, it might be helpful to have a couple blocks and or a bolster. You could also have a thick blanket that you could roll up or fold several times. That could work in place of a bolster, or you could use some books instead of blocks. But we will be using these props in our yin class today. And today we're going to be focusing on the element of the earth. In traditional Chinese medicine, the earth element is the most important, some believe, because it offers nourishment and the foundation and stability for all the other four elements. There are 5 total. And so the earth element is all about nourishing ourselves, nourishing our bodies, nourishing the earth and the environment around us, as well as offering stability and foundation. The Chinese character for earth is like an upside down capital T with a smaller line in the middle. And those 2 lines represent the soil and then the subsoil beneath it, which is the foundation for that nutritive soil above it. And so in this practice, we're going to stay pretty low to the earth. We're going to be working in the spleen and stomach meridians, which are the organs of the earth element. And so lots of inner groin and stretching of the abdomen. But before we dive into our yin practice, I wanted to mention the 3 principles, the founding principles, the founding principles of yin, which are edge. We want to get into the pose and feel the sensation in the pose. We definitely want to feel something. We don't want to feel anything extreme, so want to keep it more at like a level 6 in the sensation level. And we'll get into the pose, find our edge. That's the first principle. The second principle is stillness. So once we find that Goldilocks position, we'll go ahead and stay in stillness. So resolve to be still, allow the muscles to relax into the pose. It takes at least 60 seconds for our muscles to disengage, so we definitely want to give it that time. And this also brings me to the point of time. So we find our edge, we stay in stillness once we find that perfect pose for us today, and then we stay for time, we hold for time. And so in yin practice, and in this class in particular, we'll be holding each posture for 3 to 5 minutes each. And I'll be keeping track of time, so you don't have to keep an eye on that. And then we'll have some counter poses in between, which will be shorter 1 to 2 minute poses. So we'll go ahead and get ourselves started. We'll begin in a little more of an active type of yin practice, and then we'll move into some juicier poses that will feel a little more nourishing and restorative. So coming first onto your mat, on hands and knees, it would be helpful maybe to have the blocks on either side of your mat and the cushion by your knees. Again, you can use a blanket here, but we're going to go for our dragon pose. And so from this kneeling position here, I'm going to swing the right leg forward. And the bolster is here primarily to take pressure off that knee, so that back knee. And so we can bring the bolster underneath the knee, and that can be nice. Or we might bring the bolster further back underneath the shin. The other option is to bring the bolster almost forward of the knee, just slightly, to where the knee is off the back edge of the bolster. If you can see here, I have my toes of my left foot tucked back there. And so I prefer kind of somewhere in the middle. I will have the bolster kind of directly under my knee, but you can take any of those options. And then this knee is going to be bent. We can bring the knee slightly forward of the ankle here, if that's comfortable for you. Sometimes we need a little help bringing the earth closer to us so that we're not getting into any pain sensation. Again, we want to find our edge. That's the perfect place for you to feel a nice stretch, but not to feel overwhelmed, especially because we hold these poses for time. So go ahead and find that pose. I think for me today, it's the morning here, so my body is a little bit stiff. This is good for me today. And I'll set us up with our time, so I'm keeping track of this. And just begin to settle in to the pose. And you can begin to soften the face and the jaw, maybe even close the eyes. I'm not really super active in this pose, but I'm also not completely collapsed. So if you're feeling an extra sensitivity or tightness in the back leg or the front groin, you could come up to bring your palms to rest on top of that right knee, and that will help you come a little more upright. For me today, I'm going to pause here. So going back to that earth element, the earth element embodies nourishment, as I mentioned, stability. So when this element is balanced within us, we have a sense of groundedness, a sense of calmness. And so this practice endeavors to help us come back to that grounded center that is at the core of the earth element. The earth element can also be correlative to Mother Earth. So you think of Mother Earth or simply a mother of a child, and how they offer protection, support, stability, nourishment through love or food, cooked meals. And so that mother element is a huge part of the earth in traditional Chinese medicine. We're well over halfway on this side. So at this point, if the body is inviting you to go a little deeper, that's one reason we would move in yin, since we do like to pause in stillness. The other option is, or the other reason we move in Yin is if you're feeling that the body is giving you feedback that you need to pull out a little bit. So if you need to come out of the pose, you're feeling a strain or any kind of pain, that would be an indication from the body that we need to pull out a little bit. Just the last few moments here, allowing the hips and the pelvis to be somewhat heavy. Okay, and then from here, we'll go ahead and begin to move slowly because the muscles are disengaged. We want to be really gentle with our bodies. And move these props out of the way. And we can begin to drag that right foot back. I'm going to move the bolster out of the way. For this pose, it can be nice to do a counter pose of a downward facing dog. So we were on that right side for about 4 minutes. So notice if you feel any difference in the legs between the right and the left. You might bend the right knee and look under the left armpit. And then switch it out. Bend the left knee, looking underneath the right armpit, straightening the right leg. Go ahead and return back to your neutral down dog. And then we'll drop the knees down and find a child's pose. You might rock the forehead left and right to massage the forehead into the earth. And go ahead and reach the palms out long in front of you, extending the arms, lifting the elbows. Coming back into that tabletop pose we started with. You can bring the bolster back. We'll take that over to the other side. So this time we'll step the left foot forward and wedge that, send that right knee further back. And so again, I'm going to place the bolster where I like it. I keep my back toes tucked. I'm going to bring the blocks underneath my hands to reach the earth a little higher towards me. I'm really like allowing the pelvis to descend here. As I mentioned, the earth element has to do with nourishment, and it also has to do with nourishing our bodies through eating food. In the earth element has to also do with digestion of our food to transform the food into nutrients for our body. Just like the soil transforms a seed into a plant or a tree. There's that transition, that sense of transporting nutrients. We need all this nourishment in our body as a foundation for everything else that we do in our lives. So just as the earth is nourishing and the foundation to all of the life on earth, our digestive system is foundational to the activities and the things we produce, and foundational to everything else we do in our lives. So it's really a really important element to tap into. And yin is also very nourishing. In yin practice, we allow ourselves to rest in this stillness, which allows for our minds that are constantly running all day long to begin to unwind. With stillness, the body is less entertaining, and so we can then tap into a more meditative state and allow ourselves to nourish the body through the slow movement. We're past halfway on the side, so just a bit longer. The body's inviting you to go a little deeper. You might lower the blocks or drop the palms from the knee to the blocks. Just a little longer here. So sending the hips towards the earth. You can begin to bring the hips up and back, walk the palms back, bring the heel back and the knee in line with the right knee. I'm going to move the bolster out of the way. Again, our counter pose will be a down dog to start. So coming into your downward facing dog. And then we'll drop the knees and find our child's pose again. And we're going to go ahead and come up to prepare for our saddle pose. So For this pose, you might like to bring a block underneath the sit bones. So you're just going to have it there between the ankles. I'm going to sit back down on it. That's the lowest setting. If you need to bring it a little higher to the middle setting, you can do that. And then if you need it even higher, you would stack 2 blocks underneath your sit bone. And so this is, in vinyasa, this would be called a hero's pose. But in this practice of yin, it's called a saddle pose. So we can stay here, sitting on the block. If you feel the sensation in the quads, the stretching through the quads, then you would remain here. If you're craving a little bit more, and I am today, I'm going to bring the bolster right up to where that block is, just at the base of my booty, at the base of my hips. And then I'm going to place my second block underneath the prop, underneath the bolster, to create a little elevation, like a ramp with the ladder. I'm sorry, a ramp with the bolster. And then I'm going to begin to come down. And so for those of you who might not have a bolster at home, you might just stay here with the palms alongside behind you. I still have that block underneath my hips, which is really helpful, protecting the knee joint. If you start to hear the knees talking to you, or if this is really sensitive in the ankles, you can slide a blanket underneath the tops of the feet. But we're going to come here, if this is good for you. Remember, the first option is to rest here. The second option is to come back. And then I'm going to go a little bit further back. So I'm going to walk my palms forward and rest my back onto the ramp that is the bolster. And so now I'm feeling a stretch here along the front of the quads. And we'll be here for about 4 minutes. So you can just draw the palms out long. You want to find the perfect depth, appropriate depth for you today. So that you can sustain the posture for time. I'm going to close the eyes, soften the gaze. So in line with the earth element is digestion, not only of our food, as we've been mentioning, as we've been discussing, but also digestion of the world around us, the digestion of our everyday life, and how we assimilate what happens to us in our lives, what we do out in the world, how we assimilate that and integrate that into our whole self. And so that is another aspect of the earth element, is interpreting and assimilating and digesting our lives, our daily lives. More than halfway. See if you can relax 5 or 10% more into the earth, relaxing into the posture. Imagining that each of these yin postures is like a mini meditation. Okay, so begin to move slowly. Begin to move slowly the same way we came in. So if you're reclined on the props, you can bring your palms to press into the feet and then maybe bring one palm to the earth, the other palm to the earth. Prop yourself back up this way. I'm going to move the props out of the way because we're going to come to lie down on our backs. So shifting the hips over to one side, I'm going to extend the legs out in front of me and come down for constructive rest here. Allowing the whole body to rest, supported by the earth. I recently read a quote from Ram Dass, and he says, "Ask yourself, where am I? Answer, here. Ask yourself, what time is it? Answer, now. Say it until you can hear it." So you might, if you notice the mind is wandering, you might bring that into a mantra, simplifying it to here and now. Here and now. Here and now. You can begin to draw the knees in, bending the knees, and roll over to your right side. And then gently press yourself up. You can keep the eyes closed if that's helpful. And we're just going to come forward to our Sphinx pose. So you can come onto your belly, and we're creating a number 11 with the forearms. So I have my shoulder above my elbow. You could bring the elbow slightly forward to de-intensify the sensation in the low back, or you can draw elbows closer, and that might slightly intensify the low back feeling and sensation. I like to bring a bolster underneath right around the edge of my rib cage, and I like to rest on the bolster. You could do this with a blanket, any soft prop that you have, maybe a regular pillow, and just relax the chest into the bolster, allowing the pelvis to relax and descend down into the mat. My legs are behind me, tops of the feet are on the earth. And so once you find your perfect pose here, begin to draw the attention back inward. And then one more alternative option here, if you're wanting to intensify, you could bring the elbows and the forearms on the bolster. That's going to prop the chest higher and bring more intensity into the low back. I prefer to have the bolster here at my ribs, so I'm settling in here. And if the head begins to get heavy, you could bend the elbows and rest the chin in your hands. You could also place a block under the forehead and rest the head on the block. So back to the earth element. The earth element, when we're balanced and nourished and stable and grounded, we can have clarity of mind. So part of working with this element and trying to bring more of a sense of calmness and groundedness is so that we can see life more clearly through a more true lens. When we're stressed or flustered or upset, we can tend to skew and bend reality. So when we're grounded and calm and stable, we can find more clarity of mind. And also in the sense of being balanced, we're not too excited, we're not too sad, we're right balanced in the middle, striking that perfect equilibrium between overexcitement and under-enthusiasm. And so in this space, you also can find lots of gratitude. And so we just have a few more moments here in our Sphinx pose. When you're ready, you can begin to gently come out of this pose. So we'll go ahead and press into the palms, come onto your hands and knees. We'll move the prop out of the way. We're just going to come to our rebound, which is a belly down shavasana. And so you can begin to rest the forehead on the backs of the palms. You can stack the palms one on top of the other and rest the forehead on to the palms. read a quote. Gratitude, the simple and profound feeling of being thankful, is the foundation of all generosity. I am generous when I believe that I myself am being given what I need. Generosity requires that we relinquish something, and this is impossible if we are not glad for what we have. This is from Sally Chico Tisdale. So grounding into that sense of gratitude, that calm, providing, relaxing gratitude. Just a few more breaths, maybe breathing into the belly, feeling the belly press into the earth. And so from here, we're going to go ahead and begin to drop the arms into a cactus shape here. Drop the left cheek onto the mat. You're going to bend your right knee so it's at a 90-degree angle. So it's from my hip to my knee is about a straight line, and from my knee down to my ankle is about a straight line. And so arms are in this cactus shape, that bottom right leg is in that cactus shape, the left cheek is on the mat, left ear on the mat. We're relaxing here. Allowing this shape to be a mini Shavasana here. Allowing the stillness to soak into your bones. We're about halfway through here. So we'll gently begin to come out of this pose. You can re-extend the right knee down alongside the left. And then we're going to just press into a child's pose for our rebound or counter stretch. We're about halfway through our counter pose. Maybe you can rest a little deeper, nourishing the body, this rest. And then we'll begin to come forward to hands and knees. So take that half, I call it half frog on the other side. So you can come down to the chest, laying down on the belly, draw the arms out to a cactus. And this time we're going to drop the right cheek on the mat. And you can bend the left knee into a 90-degree from the left hip. And begin to soften the gaze. We have just a little over a minute on this side. Tuning into the body to see if there's anything you need. Any amount of relaxation you can introduce. Rest, relax, rest, relax, and release. We can begin to come out of the pose, so go ahead and extend that left leg down by the right. You can press gently into your palms and reach the chest up and press back into your rebound, your child's pose. If you're craving a little more movement, you can stay in your tabletop pose and find a cat-cow, really slow, articulating the spine. From here, we're just gonna come onto our back, so begin to make your way onto your back. You can begin to drop into the mat. We're gonna bend the knees and bring them into the chest like an upasana shape. Hugging the knees in, feeling the compression, which is also really good for our tissues. Healthy compression, healthy stretching. And then just go ahead and drop the knees over to the right. So if you're feeling that there's a big gap between the thighs, or if you want a little extra cushion to bring the earth closer to you, you might place the bolster or the blanket underneath the right knee. Or alternatively, you might rest the left knee on top of the bolster, having it between the two knees here. The arms can be out in a T. Feeling yourself supported here, shape by your props in the earth. Allow yourself to let go of doing. relaxing into being. We're about halfway through this. Okay, go ahead and remove the bolster if you have it. We'll draw the knees back to center. You can place the soles of the feet on the mat. You might take the feet as wide as the mat and knock the knees in towards one another. This is our rebound pose. Simply here and now. You can begin to bring it to the other side, so you can draw the knees back into the chest, drop the knees over to the left. Go ahead and take that prop, whoever you'd like. Extend the arms out long like a T. Allow yourself to melt into the pose. tapping into your right at your center. You can begin to unravel the body, move the prop out of the way. You can come to center. You can take that wide feet and knock the knees in towards center, or you might begin to windshield wiper the knees left and right. Choosing your variation for the next 60 seconds. Then we'll just set up for Shavasana. Go ahead and extend the legs out long, palms out wide by your side. And take a constructive rest. I'll just read one last quote from Alex Seltnick. One of the hardest things to remember about practice is that we've truly never before experienced this moment. We repeat the same action over and over again, and yet in repeating the act of sitting, we give ourselves a structure in which our strategies become obvious and our choices become simple. Resting here for a few more moments longer, absorbing the nourishment of this practice, the nourishment of the earth, feeling your connectedness and your interconnectedness, interrelatedness to earth and all other beings. When we feel this connection to the earth, we gain a sense of integrity, reciprocity, and truthfulness. When you're ready, you can always stay longer, but if you're ready to move on, we can go ahead and begin to wake up the body gently, moving a few limbs. Then you can roll over to one side, finding a fetal position. Keeping the eyes soft, you can press up to a seat. Drawing the palms to touch at heart center, drawing the chin towards the chest, honoring your practice, your effort to bring balance into your life, connection. And we'll chant just one mantra. Lokah samastah sukhino bhavantu. May all beings be happy and free. May the ripples of my actions cause all beings to be happy and free. Many blessings. Namaste. Bye for now. Thanks for watching. And as always, if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more videos like this.